All right, it's time to learn how to find the area of a triangle. So yesterday you did the inquiry lab, and that showed you how if you found the area of a parallelogram, you can just cut that in half to get the area of a triangle. But today we are going to use the formula for area of a triangle. Before we start, this word here, congruent. Congruent figures are figures that are the same shape and size. So congruent means equal, but it's a word that we use in geometry. So if two shapes are the same shape, same size, even if they're turned different directions, they are congruent or equal. So let's go down to example 1. In example 1, it says find the area of the triangle. So just like when we did parallelograms, you are going to have to write the formula, substitute, and solve. Now this one is done below, but I'm just going to go through the steps so you see it. So we have to first write the formula, and the formula for area of a triangle is half times base times height. And then we're going to substitute the dimensions in. So we need the base and the height. Now, if I look at the base, if I count, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my base is going to be 6 units, and then my height is 1, 2, 3, 4. It is 4 units high. So when I substitute, it's going to be half times 6 times 4. Now, that looks like 64, sorry. All right, so half times 6 times 4. Now, you can type that into a calculator if you want, but this isn't hard mental math for this one. I know half times 6, or half of 6 is 3, and 3 times 4 is 12. So my answer would be area is 12 square units. Remember, we write that units with the littles too, but we say square units. All right, let's go on to the next page. Now, on the next page, we have example 2, which is going to be the same deal. But instead of counting it on graph paper, they are going to give us our dimensions. So let's start at the top. I'm going to write my formula. Area is half times base times height. And now I'm going to substitute. So this here is the base. So its area is half times the base is 12.1. I'm using parentheses here. If I use a dot, the dot kind of looks like a decimal. So it would be hard to tell the dot from the decimal, so that's why I'm using parentheses. All right, so half times 12.5 times 6.4. So that's what step 2 should look like. And then last, when you type it in, this one I would not do mental math because of all the decimals. So type in half times 12.5 or 6.4, and you would get your area is 38 and 72 hundredths. And since they give us a unit, we have to say square meters. Now, if you want to write it out, go for it, but it's a lot shorter to write m with a little 2 exponent. Also, another thing, when you're typing it in on a calculator, you don't have to type in the fraction half. You can type in the decimal 0.5, and that's the same thing as half, and it works easy. All right, so now, your job is to do problem A and problem B. You must write the formula, you must substitute the numbers, and you must solve. Calculators are allowed. As soon as you're done with A and B, restart the video to check your answers. Okay, go ahead. All right, so let me start with A. So I have to find the area, and you should have already done these, so you're just checking. Did you start by writing the formula? Half times base times height. And next, you're going to substitute. Area is half times the base. I'm going to count the units. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The base is 6, and it is 1, 2, 3 high. So half times 6 times 3. Type it in a calculator if you want, but I'm thinking half times 6 is 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. So my area is 9 square units. Now, double check, do you have all 3 steps? And do you have it labeled as square units? Okay, if you do, then you're good to go. Let's go on to B. So, same thing, same steps. Area is half times base times height. Substitute, area is half times the base is 9. Now, if you put the 7 first, it doesn't matter. Times 7. Now, this is one where I might not do mental math, only because half of 9 is 4.5, half of 7 is 3.5. And because you're dealing with those decimals, it's kind of tough. So I would probably type this in your calculator. And if you do, you should have your area is 31.5 or 31.5 square feet. did you remember to label your answer as square feet? All right, if you had both of those right, you're kicking butt and taking names. But now it's time for the missing dimension problems. Okay, this one is a little bit trickier than when we did missing dimensions with parallelograms. So there's kind of a little bit of an extra step in here. But once you practice it will not be too bad. So first, let's take a look at our delicious triangle. We have the height is 6 centimeters, because this is a right angle. And the base we don't know, so that's our variable. And the area is 24 square centimeters. Remember, even if it didn't say A equals, I would know it's the area because of that square centimeters. So I'm going to start by writing my formula. Area is half times base times height. And now I'm going to substitute. So remember, the 24 is my area, so that goes in for A. Equals half times the base I don't know, and times the height I do know is 6. Now at this point, this is where you kind of have a little extra step, because you can't just do a division equation, because we have to get rid of the half and the 6. So this is a step I like to call simplify step. So I'm going to add a little step in here. So I'm going to rewrite step 2, but I'm going to simplify by finding half of 6 and using that instead. So watch what I do. I'm going to rewrite it as 24 equals half times 6 is 3 times the base. So notice, the half of 6 I replaced with 3. And now it's going to be just like what you did the other day with parallelograms. I have to divide by 3, cancel, and I get my base. Base equals 8 centimeters. Remember, because it's just a dimension, it's not square centimeters. Only area is square centimeters. Okay, so that's how you do the missing dimension ones, is remember this extra step of simplifying the half times the whole number, and then you can solve it. So let's go down and look at C and D. In C, I'm going to guide you a little bit through it, and D, you're going to do totally on your own. So here's what we'll do. I'll tell you to do each step, and then we'll check it. You can pause it if you want, but I'll wait a second in between. So the first step for C, write your formula. And that one's just area is half times base times height, because it's a triangle. Now, here's what I want you to do next. I want you to substitute. If you want to wait for the video, that's fine. If you want to pause it. So substitute the 40 and the 8 in the formula. Okay, go ahead. You can pause if you want. Okay, let's see what you did. The area is 40, so the 40 goes in for the A. Equals half times the base I don't know times the height I do know is 8. So if you substituted correctly, so far so good. Now the next thing I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you simplify. I don't want you to solve it yet. So you're going to remember how we simplified. The half times the 8, you're going to simplify to one number and then rewrite this whole thing with that one number. So pause the video and do the simplifying step and then restart it to see if you got that right. Go. Alright, so let's see how you did. So I'm going to simplify the half times the 8. And by the way, that's 4. Half of 8 is 4. So I'm going to rewrite it. 40 equals 4 times B. Okay, if you made it that far, then you could do the rest. Just figure out what B is. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Cancel. B, the base, is 10 meters. Remember, it is not square meters because it is just the base. Only area is square meters. All right, so now, here is your job. Here is your challenge. Your challenge is to do problem D. Figure out what that missing dimension H is. Write the formula, substitute. Remember, you're going to have to simplify with the half, and then solve. So pause, restart when you're done. Go. All right, let's see if you got it. First, the formula. Half times base times height. Next, I'm going to substitute. The 72 is the area. Equals half times the base is 12 times the height I don't know. Okay, next you should have simplified. Remember, you want to simplify that half times the 12 to one nice easy number, which half of 12 is 6. So then you have 6 times the height and you still have the 72 equals. So it's the same thing, just the half times 12 became the 6. And last, you just had to solve that. Divide by 6, and you would get your height. 72 divided by 6 is 12. Did you remember your unit, 12 yards, not square yards, because it's just the height? All right, if you went through D completely on your own and got it right, then you are definitely doing a great job. If not, remember, we'll keep practicing it, and you can ask me for help as well. So now on the page, we're just going to show you one real-world example, and then you're done listening to me drone on. So, in the real-world example, it says the front of a camping tent has the dimensions shown. How much material was used to make the front of the tent? Now, notice they don't say the front of the tent is a triangle, so if you were doing this on a test, you would have to say, hey, that's a triangle. Make sure I use the formula, half times base times height. Substitute, the height is 3, the base is 5, so area is half times 5 times 3. And then you just have to solve it. Area is half of 5 times 3 is 7.5. And notice they wrote 7.5 square feet. I would write it 7.5 feet squared, but we still say square feet just because I'm a little bit lazier. All right, you're done with me. You know, for your makeup work, you're going to be doing the problems down below, 1 through 5, and hand those in, and I'll be going over to make sure you understood it. Thanks, guys.